Hello there and welcome to today's ship tour of Freedom of the Seas. If you're new to the channel and you like cruise news, cruise vlogs, and ship tours, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below to follow along all of these Freedom of the Seas videos. We've got Symphony of the Seas that just wrapped up, so if you want to check those out, you can. And we have Wonder of the Seas coming up next after these videos. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into today's ship tour. As always, here on the channel, we like to start all the way at the very front and the very top of the ship. So here we are on deck 14 all the way forward. We have the Freedom Dunes, which is the 9-hole mini golf here on board the ship. Has lots of cool tropical decorations like the palm trees, and even has like some shipwreck type of theming with a little lighthouse. Really, really cool, very well decorated. This is a very cool area as well because outside of the mini golf here, we have a lot of loungers, and not many people come up here that I've noticed on any of the Freedom class ships. Not many people come up here, which is really nice. So if you want a really nice, peaceful place, it's usually pretty good as long as there's no kids screaming at the mini golf. Jumping down to deck 12 midship, still slightly forward, we have this little area up at the top of the stairs. It's an exclusive area for Pinnacle suite guests, and I believe Diamond as well. It's a really, really cool area. We may have snuck up there once or twice to get a little extra footage, but it is a very cool area. Unfortunate that it is kind of blocked off and not for everybody, but it makes a nice relaxing place for those higher loyalty guests. Now here we have the jogging track. Off to our right hand side we have some of the casitas or the cabanas that we have on board. You do have to reserve these, and I believe they do cost money as well. I'm not sure of the exact price, unfortunately, but they are really cool. They do kind of block the view though, for those who are just kind of like sitting there looking for those really cool views of down the side of the ship. They do block your vision quite a bit. But here we have the Lime and Coconut Bar. This is on the top level. We also have a bar right underneath us. But this area is really cool as well. This ended up being one of my favorite spots on the ship just because of how they designed it. The other Freedom class ships, it's like a stadium seating where they took that out here on Freedom and they made this really cool lounging area. And with all the seating there, they do overlook the pool deck here. We have two large pools with a little, I guess it's a stage in the middle here, a couple hot tubs. Jumping over to the other side, the starboard side of the ship, we have some more of those casitas. I didn't notice these were too occupied during the cruise. I didn't notice too many people until the last sea day that were ever using these. But here we have a look at Splashaway Bay. This is the kids' water park on board. Looks so much fun for those young ones on board. Never noticed it was too loud or either, so if you're worried about any noise being near the kids' place, it wasn't too bad from what I remember, at least on my cruise. Skipping further back here on deck 12 still, we have Johnny Rockets. It's a pay-to-eat restaurant. They do have breakfast. Breakfast is free, but if you want dinner, it is going to be an upcharge. I believe it's around $15. I know that's what it was on Symphony of the Seas. It's $15, but you can have all you can eat for that $15, and then if you want any milkshakes or alcohol, then it's a little extra. But here we have the very back of deck 12 overlooking the back of the ship. Here we have a nice, beautiful look at Coco Cay. Skipping up, there is actually a deck 13. I lied earlier, but there is the Flow Rider right here, the surf simulator at sea. Freedom of the Seas was actually the very first ship to ever debut a Flow Rider. Some fun fact. And over on the left-hand side, as you're facing forward, you have the water slides on board. These were added later on. These did not come with the ship whenever she first debuted back in 2006. This was added in a recent dry dock a few years ago, but these are a lot of fun. Skipping a little bit more forward, we have the basketball court. They actually have the pickleball set up right now. That's something that Royal Caribbean's been pushing a lot on their ships. In the basketball courts is pickleball. I know that's kind of a trend right now. And then right on the other side of that, we have the large rock climbing wall. Very, very cool. I didn't do it this time, but when I originally sailed on Freedom back in 2006 or 7, I don't remember, but I did do it back then. Skipping on the inside, this is actually a little bit more forward right behind Johnny Rockets. We have the arcade is going to be in this tiny little room here, and then we also have a look at some of the kids clubs on board. So any young ones, I think it's 2 to 5, 5 to, I think, 12 or something around those lines, and then 15 to 17-year-olds, so the teen clubs. So if you have any young ones that you're planning on taking on a cruise, I know it is a short cruise, most likely on Freedom of the Seas, but if you need to get a little bit of time away from the kids, you have options. Here's an actual look inside the arcade. It is very small compared to the other ships, much smaller than the other Freedom class ships because they did everything with the kids areas built into it. We're going to skip up to deck 14 real quick. And here we have the Viking Crown Lounge. This is the iconic lounge on most of the Royal Caribbean ships. They haven't been making their way to the new ones, I've noticed. But the Viking Crown Lounge is a staple in the Royal Caribbean fleet and a very, very nice, relaxing lounge. There's not really ever that many people up here as well, but there's a bar if you want somebody to get you a drink. There's usually servers that are walking around as well. Get a nice overlook of the ship, though, Splashaway Bay, and of course we have our lovely Lady Oasis off to our left-hand side. As you come into the buffet here, all the way down in the back of Deck 11, we have a bar right in the middle as you come in. The camera didn't really turn the way I wanted it to. Sorry about that. But of course, the buffet, this is the Windjammer, so anything you can really think of, just it's a standard buffet here on board like you would find on any other ship. You have coffee, juice, water off to our right-hand side here, and then, of course, here's all the seating in the back. Lots of space to sit, lots of food, lots of different options, so definitely a great place if you just need a casual meal. This is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you don't want to go to the main dining room, you can always have dinner up here. Right at the entrance of the Windjammer Cafe, you have Giovanni's Italian Kitchen, which is the Italian restaurant here on board. And then directly across from that, we also have Chops Grill, the steakhouse on board. Both are very great options. Didn't have either one on this cruise, but Chops Grill is great. I did have that on Symphony recently. We're going to skip down to, of course, Deck 11 still. This is a better look at Splashaway Bay, the kids' pool area. We have a couple hot tubs as well, have a little waterfall, and the little play area and a tiny little pool for them as well. Here we have a look at the main pool again. Lots of loungers nearby, so plenty of places to sit. Hopefully there's not too many people hogging up the chairs, but we have two very large pools that stage in the middle like we saw earlier. And I just can't get over how beautifully decorated this pool deck was. Definitely one of my favorite pool decks I have ever seen on any ship. Very, very well decorated and very beautiful. Great place to just sit and relax. Here we have another look at the bottom portion of the Lime and Coconut Bar. We saw the top earlier when the video first started. Just another pool bar, basically. Actually, I think this is the pool and sky bar on the sister ships Independence and Liberty. But now we have the updated and rethemed Lime and Coconut here on Freedom. Skipping forward on Deck 11, we still have a little bit to go. We have the Solarium on board, complete with a pool, lots of loungers. It's an adults-only area. And you even have the cantilever whirlpools that are off to each side of the ship. These are just very large hot tubs that hang out over the side. Super, super cool. Usually a little crowded in those because everybody wants to get in because they're pretty neat hot tubs. But very cool views in those if you can get in and if you don't have too many people in there. Deck 11 all the way forward, we have the Spa and Fitness Center. Continuing all the way forward, we have a lot of treadmills, ellipticals, all sorts of exercise equipment, and then, of course, built into this, we have a spa area as well. If you like a massage, anything like that, then that's definitely the place to do it. Decks 10 through 6 are all going to be staterooms, so we are going to skip all the way down to Deck 5, all the way forward. We have Star Lounge. This is a lounge where we can do bingo, trivia, things like that. As of the time we were recording this, I believe there were people in there actually playing trivia, so kind of a multi-purpose area and just things for activities pretty much. As we turn around and make our way down the Royal Promenade heading towards the back of the ship, we have some of the shops on board. Off to our left, we have the Sorrento's Pizza Bar. Very much love that area. Love getting Sorrento's Pizza. It's the best at sea. We have this dork. And then down the Royal Promenade. Lots of shopping. Here we have another one of the Irish pubs here on board. Here, of course, right next to it, we have the Royal Shops, the Royal Caribbean logo merchandise, ship models, t-shirts, hoodies, anything with the Royal Caribbean logo stamped on it. You can pretty much find it here. Lots of stuff, lots of cups, shirts, everything. Across from that, we have Vintage's Wine Bar. So if you want to grab a glass of wine, you can also buy bottles here as well. So if you want to, this is a great place to do it. Continuing down the Royal Promenade, there's so much to do down here. Off to our right, we have Cafe Promenade, which is a coffee bar. You actually have Starbucks built into that. It's a Starbucks menu. So there is no official Starbucks here on Freedom, but you can get a Starbucks coffee from the Cafe Promenade. Across from it, we also have the Ben & Jerry's, and then right next to it, we have shore excursions. If you want to book any shore excursions while you're in Coco Cay, or if you're on one of the itineraries that go to Nassau, you can book any shore excursions here. We also have just another retail shop here, just kind of random beach, tropical themed type of clothing, items, things like that. Then we have the next cruise desk. We always spend a little bit too much time there anytime we're on a cruise. But skipping further back, we have another one of the bars here on board. This is all the way forward on the Royal Promenade. Here we have a little bit of a bridge. And on the other side of that bridge, we have guest services. And deck 5 all the way in the back, we have the main dining room. This is a very, very large dining room, spans decks 3, 4, and 5. Huge dining room, very huge chandelier here in the middle as that centerpiece. So if you're going to dinner at night, or sometimes you can even get breakfast here in the main dining room, the main dining room is, of course, included, and this is where you're going to have any of your main dinners on board if you don't want to go to the buffet or any of the specialty restaurants. Skipping down to deck 4, we have a outer deck here just below the lifeboats. This is another one of my favorite spots here on Freedom of the Seas. You got a couple chairs that line down the side of the ship, which is really, really cool. And then we're going to jump back inside as we are still on deck 4, still making our way towards the front of the ship. Here we have just like a little atrium area, some very nice staircase. We have Bolero's bar here on our left-hand side. On the opposite side, there's no bar, nothing over there. Some ships have stuff. I know Mariner of the Seas had a Starbucks over there, but that's just an empty seating area over on the other side. Continuing forward, though, we have Playmaker's Sports Bar. Very, very good place to eat. It is an upcharge. Everything varies in price. So you can definitely look up the menus. You do have to pay for it, but it is very good food. I always like to go here at least once on a ship that has it. So if you like a little sports bar, you like to watch the big game or anything like that, this is a really cool place to do it. Have some wings, have some beers or anything like that. Just having a good time watching the big game. Continuing forward, we have the Royal Casino here on Freedom of the Seas. We have a large staircase that leads up into the Royal Promenade. Here we have a large casino bar right in the middle of it all. You have blackjack tables, slot machines, any sort of gambling items that you can think of. Like the little claw machine here where you can pick up the money or like the stacks of dollar bills. It's really, really cool. You got a lot of options here. If you like to gamble, this is a great ship to do. A very large casino here. And then even further forward here on deck 4, we have the schooner bar. This is a staple on Royal Caribbean. Every ship in the fleet has a schooner bar, and usually they'll have live music here. Of course, a great place to grab a drink at the end of the day. So great relaxation area, and sometimes they'll even host trivia, live music, and things like that here. Just as you come out of the schooner bar, off to the left-hand side, you have Izumi, which is the hibachi and sushi restaurant on board. This is a pay-to-eat, but it is a very, very good option if you want a specialty meal. And then all the way forward, we're skipping back outside on deck 4. We have the bow of the ship. There's a helipad up here, and it's a really, really cool observation point. Love coming up here. This is definitely by far my favorite spot on this ship and any Royal Caribbean ship that offers access to the bow of the ship. Hopping back inside, here we have a look at the Royal Theater. We could not go in right now because they were rehearsing, but any of the main theater shows are going to be held here at the Royal Theater. Skipping down to deck 3, we have Studio B. Studio B is the ice skating rink on board, again, doing some rehearsing. Actually, they were doing laser tag at this time. We just weren't able to get in because there was a game going on. But also down here, we have the focus photo gallery. Here, if you click on one of these tablets, you can swipe your card and pull up any photos that you've taken on board and purchase anything that you would like and have everything printed out. And with that, that's going to wrap up our ship tour of Freedom of the Seas. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe if you want to continue following along with all the videos from our cruise here on board Freedom of the Seas. We also have ship tours of her sister ships, Liberty and Independence. If you'd like to check those out, they'll be at the end cards in just a few seconds. And of course, we have Wonder of the Seas as our next cruise. We're going to have a ship tour of her probably coming out in early May. So definitely stick around. We'll have lots of content for you guys coming up soon. For our next video, Freedom of the Seas, Embarkation Day Part 1. I'll see you then.